Welcome back to another video where I will talk about what's going on at Mclaren right now. Let's have a look at McLaren's situation in the championships going on right now. McLaren is P2 in the constructors, just about 8 points away from Red Bull. They look like they're gonna overtake them with the next race in their leadership. Since Red Bull just isn't there, they're in a little crisis as well. Max himself even said that, and obviously Perez isn't performing as he should. Neither of them, because the car just doesn't seem to work for them. And McLaren is in a lucky position. Let's say they have this opportunity to be the best team. They have a very fast car, they have two very talented drivers, with Lando and Oscar, but something is missing. Something at McLaren is missing. Because even though they perform each weekend very good, very, how should I say, without big issues, right? A lot of teams would have to fight with strategy or like some cars with graining. No, not the case for McLaren, because their car seems to be fast on every track. It will, or at least somewhat, because it works everywhere. Be it either on Spa, be it in Monza, be it in Monaco even, be it Hungary, it works. It doesn't matter if it's a high-speed track, slow corners, medium corners, fast corners, it doesn't matter. The car just works everywhere. And that's very good for McLaren, because the Red Bull doesn't work everywhere, the Mercedes doesn't work everywhere, and Ferrari is Ferrari. And now there's this opportunity where McLaren could win a championship after decades. After decades, yes. It's finally time, it's finally the chance is there for McLaren to get something done, but they just don't maximize it. They don't really believe in themselves yet. That's what it looks like from a fan perspective. Because if you look at the team, and the situation and everything you hear about it, right, from a neutral perspective, it gets very confusing. Like you would think, this team, right? Oh my god, they are fast, they have such good drivers. You would think they would throw everything at both championships, but nope, that's not the case. It's not been the case in Monza. I mean, P2 and P3 isn't bad, but it could have been much better if they were like more serious and didn't let their drivers race each other, since that also causes a risk to lose out on points, because what if they crash, right? That's racing. It might happen. And they just don't do it. And then we also look at Lando in the Drivers' Championship, where you have him in P2, 62 points away from Max Verstappen, who is in a bad car, in a bad Red Bull, that doesn't even finish higher than P5, right? And we have 8 races to go. Lando has a very, very good chance to catch up on Max if they continue like this, right? But McLaren just isn't really maximizing, isn't going all in on that, since they like waste a lot of potential and opportunities for Lando to make points and to make bigger steps forward, right? In Monza, Oscar finished ahead of Lando, making 2 points less for Lando. Only 2 points because Lando got the fastest lap. Once again, it would have been 3 points otherwise. Same in Hungary, where they had to use team orders, yes, team orders, that everyone was complaining about because, oh, Lando needs team orders now, right? No. Who needed team orders in Hungary for his first ever win? Who? Oh yeah, it was Oscar. I'm not throwing shade on Oscar or anything. Obviously he has talent, but he's just not there yet. And it's unfair to say team orders are like, oh my god, you can't perform without team orders. No, it's part of the sport. Mercedes did it very famously. Everyone knows the sentence. Valtteri, it's James. Please support the fastest lap. From Mercedes in the Lewis years. We know it from Ferrari, Barrichello and Schumacher times. We just know it, okay? It's been in the sport and it's good. It's not bad. It's not necessarily okay. It's every race, it's bad. Let's say like Perez and Max, okay, if they were equal, it would be bad, right? But that's not the case. It's good for the team and for the championships, obviously. In some cases, not all. Just very recently, even Barris aborted his qualifying lap to give Max the head start, right? Can you imagine that? That's basically a team order. They are that desperate right now. They are doing these kind of things, and it's not really a big outrage. Okay, Barris sucks, yes, but that's it. But McLaren should do the same. They should throw everything they have and Atlanta to make sure he wins, or make sure they win at least something. Because if we go back to the Constructors' Championship, there's currently top 3 teams right now. Number 1, Red Bull. Then there's McLaren, and then there's Ferrari. Yes, Ferrari. These 3 teams are all within 40 points right now. And given the current form and the controversies around the teams, McLaren is going to catch Red Bull. Yeah, very clearly. Since Red Bull, the car isn't up there, right? But that doesn't mean McLaren is going to win the Constructors. No. There's Ferrari. They are also catching up. They are also there. They always have been there. They just flew under the radar because it's Ferrari. And they made Ferrari decisions. Canada. Just saying. But it's not going to be easy for McLaren. And even if they as a team, would want to keep up the chemistry between Oscar and Lando by just letting them race and make it up to themselves, it doesn't make sense, since that's not good as a team result. Since you clearly need to perform every weekend now on. Because if you don't perform for a weekend, or if Oscar or Lando somehow manage to get into each other, you lose out on points as a team as well, not just in the Drivers' Championships. And then Ferrari is gonna be there. And you look like you're gonna lose both championships. And that's very concerning. And this whole situation has got everyone confused. Everyone in the F1 community. Christian Horner himself said they're very lucky that McLaren is like this, because now Red Bull and Max, at least, have still a chance to win it, right? Because McLaren just throw away each opportunity to make the gap smaller, right? Because anything can happen in Formula 1. Toto Wolff as well said it's very confusing that they're not prioritizing Lando. There's a lot of statements, a lot of comments going on, as usual. But this shows that something is wrong, right? That something is missing at McLaren. And sadly, you have a CEO with Zach Brown, who comes around and then goes oh yeah, no, it's in McLaren's history. We have never had number 2 drivers, always 2 number 1 drivers, and that's it. This car right now, right? This McLaren isn't the RB19, isn't the RB18. It's not any of the Mercedes era cars. It's not the McLaren MP4. It's not the number 1 car, the undisputed fastest car in the field. It's just not. So that's a very dumb statement to say. Because if it were, then I would understand it, sure. And if you have 2 equal drivers, let's go at them. Because you have no threat from behind. But that's just not the case for McLaren this season. Because it's one out of many, many cars that are actively fighting for a podium. Since actually you have McLaren himself, right? That's 2 cars. Then you have Ferrari with 2 cars, right? Then you have Mercedes with another 2 cars, occasionally, not always, occasionally, because they're still fast. They have picked up the pace from the start of the season compared, right? Thankfully, they are once again far away in the championship, but they can still fight for the podium. And on the podium, right, you only have three spaces, and you have already 6 cars fighting for it. And you also have Max Verstappen, right? That's 7 cars. Let's count the other Red Bull as well, so it's 8 cars in total, right? and you have only 3 spaces on the podium. That's not the case for McLaren. That you can say to your drivers, where one of them, right, Lando, where Lando is the better positioned driver, right, in the championship. It's not about who is better, who is actually faster or number one. It's about the better positioned driver in the championship. And this, in this case, happens to be Lando and not Oscar. Because Oscar threw away his chance to actively influence this. And since Lando is in a better position, and you do not prioritize him, and you do not give him every point, you are actively starving him. Because Max, right? Max is up here. He is within reach. Just 8 races to go, I'm telling you, right? And Lando, because you do not prioritize him, you do not give him every single point that counts, right? You are actively starving him. You are actively starving Lando. Going towards Max, right? Max is up here. And because it's all those tiny points, right? In Monza, it's just 2 points. In Hungary, it was 6 points, 6 points, right? That's 8 points. In Austria, you lost out on 10 points to Max. It's another point. It's all lost, right? It doesn't matter if it's now 6 points or 10 points, right? But still, all those tiny things matter. And in the end of the season, right? When Max is still up here, right? And Lando is here because you starved him and you didn't give him every single point in every opportunity he had. He's just not gonna reach it, and he's gonna stall out just by a tiny bit. And that's what's gonna happen at the end of the season, right? Because it will be close, and maybe, who knows, anything is possible. But this is what it looks like right now. The most likely case, right? That Lando just will lose out on a couple of points towards Max on the championship. Since they also have these moments, you might eventually, maybe, just say, you might also lose out on the team championship as well because of such poor management, either way. And since they technically are still allowed to race each other and the Barbara rules are not to crash each other, who says that's like not gonna happen, or like that Max has nothing to lose. If he comes up against McLaren or Lando or Oscar, either one of those, right, he has nothing to lose, right? So why would he not be harsh, I would say, right? Or unfair in balance? It's an option. So that might happen. We all know that because Lando has lost a few points and is very close, and with the current trajectory and how everything looks like, right? Red Bull is on the low, they don't make as many points, Max Verstappen can't even perform the car, bring it in the top 5s, and McLaren are gaining points, Lando is gaining points on Max. They might end up starving Lando and losing out the championship by just a couple of points, and those couple of points you have left out because of dumb decisions, because you didn't prioritize Lando before, right? There we are, exactly here. Might just be those 2 points. In Hungary, those 6 points. It's 8 points. 8 points more than enough to lose out, right? And a couple other moments as well, Silverstone, Austria, whatever. But also, since you do not have clear priorities and you let your drivers race however they like and want to, right? You also have the risk to lose out in the constructors to Ferrari because they do not have such a mess going on. They might be fast, they might get faster, they just recently, this was their first race with upgrades, right? They might just catch on to you, right? Red Bull doesn't seem to be a threat, but that doesn't matter since Ferrari is the new threat. You have to focus on that as well. And with all these tiny indecisive beings, right, and wrong decisions, like in Monza, they listened to Oscar, they asked him if a one-stop is viable, and he said no. That was because he was burning through his tires in the race. Over 2 laps, he was a tenth slower than Lando, on the same strategy with the same tires and everything. And they asked Oscar, and he said, no, it's a two-stopper for sure. And that's where McLaren basically set up the strategy for both of the drivers, and they lost out on the win, right? Since Leclerc stayed out, pulled through a one-stop, and they won. And by making these things or tiny mistakes, you're also going to lose out on the Constructors' Championship, because Ferrari is up here with you. You're just a tiny bit ahead. And if you keep these things or these issues around with your drivers, it just might happen that Ferrari takes the edge because you make a little mistake here or there. Or your drivers might think, oh, I have to push now. I have to deliver now, because Lando, who doesn't want to win the championship, right? Everyone does. And Lando thinks, oh, it's now or never. And Oscar thinks, you know what? I'm not gonna be playing around. I'm better than you, right? And then it happens, and then Ferrari is here, and you lose everything you had to win. It's now or never. Once again, you have everything to win and everything to lose. For Red Bull and Verstappen, they are done for. The team they just focus on Max now to somehow bring him over the line. And that should tell you enough as a team that you are McLaren, okay? And I hope this will be the last video on this topic. I hope so. I really hope so. Even he is speechless, right? Hasn't talked all video long. Goodbye.